Welcome to Using Your Teacher Voice, episode 21. Today I want to talk about um, how to react to things online appropriately. This is a short one. This will be a short one. I haven't had a whole lot of time to work on things, but I had an experience last night that I just wanted to share and I thought was an interesting teachable moment and a nice place to remind people about things. Last night I had my first experience with a burn account. If you're not familiar with what a burn account is, it's its name comes from two places. First off, it's a disposable account that's created just in order to, the second thing, blow somebody up, to be mean, hurtful, hateful, or whatever to somebody. And so I guess last night, about 9:30, I get a Twitter notification, and it was just at RHS Teach. You are a big fat piece of SH. Fill out the rest. And at first I didn't think a whole lot of it because I was like, well, I'd made some disparaging, or some snarky political comments earlier in the night, and so I was like, oh, it must just be some kid's bot or something, making comments or whatever. So I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. About 10 minutes later, I get another notification from the same Twitter account. By the way, the Twitter account, the name was None Yo Business, and at F, you spell out the rest, John Wells. And this account, or this tweet said, got nothing to say, huh? Well, you. So now I'm like, okay, this may be, this is probably somebody. And again, I don't really react because, whatever. I get a third tweet and it says, you are a lame, fat, CU, spell. Um, okay, so I went ahead and I reported the account, and I didn't get any other, tweets from that account. Um, Twitter does have a way of reporting accounts if you think they're being, used maliciously to harass or, bully people, or if you just find them overly offensive. Twitter asks you about 5 or 6 questions, to classify the account, and then it gives you some options afterwards. You can block the account or you can mute it. I didn't either, just so I could keep watching it. Obviously, whoever created the account knows me, or knows somebody who knows me, so they know my address and stuff like that. And apparently, they do know who I am. So, it brings up an interesting point, though, because I think this is a great moment about, just to talk a little bit about how to react to things online. Um, you know, let's be honest. These are things that kids have said for ever since we had a lunchroom, right? Kids would say these things about teachers, so it's really not that big of a deal, to me at least. But I know some teachers would immediately one of their reactions would be like, "See, this is why you should never be on social media. You should never be on social media because this is just horrible, horrible, horrible. I'm just closing all my accounts right now." I know some teachers might just get really wildly offended by this and shut everything off. Um, okay, that's a reaction. Other people might get just foaming mad and want to engage these people and comment back and start a conversation, which is obviously what this person wanted me to do when his second quote said, "Oh, you got nothing to say, huh?" So let's talk about what you could do when you get confronted like this. Obviously, like I said, I think kids have said these kinds of things for quite some time, But before it was always in the lunchroom, with 5 or 6 friends. Now it's out to everybody, and it has a much wider audience. I think also too, the idea that because they can do it anonymously, create an account, throw some things out there directly at me or to the person, instead of at the lunchroom where they said it to their friends, but you never heard it, or it was always secondhand, right? Like, oh, so and so said that so and so said this. So it's a little different environment. Um, Now, again, I think every situation is different. I think every person reacts a little differently, and so these are just maybe some general guidelines, but not necessarily uh, this isn't a one size fit all solution. I decided to ignore this. First off, because it was obvious they wanted to engage me. There's no reason for that. Um, I am not the witty kind of person. I can make some comments and I did want to respond back, like, obviously you're not paying attention you're one of my students, but you must not be paying attention in my class. Look at all the grammar mistakes you used. I wanted to make those kinds of comments, but that doesn't further the conversation. There is no conversation. It's just people being, stupid. Now, there are people out there that are very witty and sharp-tongued. I work with a guy that would be great at making retorts like this. And I do follow some people like Keith Olbermann and Kyle Busch make some really good comments to his haters and stuff. Brad Keselowski does too. But, that's not me, and so that's not an action I want to do. Plus, also, it doesn't do anything but just gives them that power, right? That just shows them, oh, you're getting at, I'm getting at him, he's coming back at me, by not responding. I don't know if it was going to continue or if my inaction made it stop, but I didn't further it. I did report it. Really, I think. At first, I wasn't going to report it. I didn't think that I needed to, because again, it was just 3 tweets, whatever. But I did report it for a couple reasons. One was, this person obviously knew me. If you met me in real life, I'm not a small boy. I'm kind of a big guy. So in all 3 tweets, things were said like "you are fat," or use the word fat. And again, was it a personal swipe? Maybe, maybe not. But, I went ahead and reported it because, this is a person that, is obviously close. This isn't somebody shooting, lobbing grenades from afar or whatever. But also because, let's face it, I don't need that stuff on my timeline, right? I'm engaging with students, with parents, and I'm engaging with the other professionals, So those aren't just things I want on my timeline. I think the next thing for teachers to do is, I don't think this is something that you bring into the class. Now, again, every situation is different. I think that, we all have different ways of approaching things, and different situations call for different things. This would be a great teachable moment with your students. Say, hey, look, here's what happened, and this is not appropriate, and why it's not. I chose not to do that because at least at this moment, it was still, that person is in my room. I can narrow it down to a few people that it could be. I know what class it is because today, when they came in, 3 or 4 kids were talking about it, and I could hear one of them in the back looking it up, going, "Oh my God, he said what?" So I know that I can. We know, teachers know, we get that. Maybe later, this is something I bring up in class and say, hey, here's something that was said, one time, and let's talk about why this isn't okay and how you should respond. I think it's a great teachable moment, but I don't think that it needs to be like a weapon that we use in class to try to call somebody out. Yes, I think we need to, kind of keep those things in, and if you need to make people aware in your buildings, like, hey, look, here's an incident, just wanted to let you know. I think that's appropriate because, again, in this age of documentation and recording things, it's not bad for, somebody of authority to know that if it happens again or a 3rd time or a 4th time, there's a trail and people know that, this is something that's been going on for a while. So again, I think that if you are the victim of one of these comments, I would suggest that, keep a level head. Understand that this is just somebody lashing out. This is somebody trying to, vent or trying to get at you, trying to, even the score up somewhat. But, at the same time, keep an eye on it. Don't let it get personal. Don't let it get too close to home because then you do have to act. Take these things seriously and kind of judge them for what they're worth, but don't overreact. I hope that this isn't you. I hope this doesn't become something that you have to deal with. But again, being on social media gives us this opportunity to interact with kids. We're giving kids more access to us, and these are some of the things that we might get. So, understanding where we're putting ourselves as part of the situation here, and part of the learning process. Hopefully, we can model the right activity for our students by lashing out or doing things online in retaliation. Just furthers the message of what not to do online. So keep a level head, watch things, but just don't overreact. And I hope this doesn't happen to you.